I was helping another angler with a fish. The fish started biting, and then all of a sudden I just heard somebody scream. I looked over, and she had boots in the air, holding onto the rod, bent over the rail, just almost in the water. And then we had two gentlemen step in immediately and pulled her back on deck.
And Chad and Mackie, they had to react in a split second, didn't they?
Split second decision. Yeah, split second.
How close? She said her face was literally a couple of feet from the water. She was all the way over.
Yeah, I would say probably a foot actually. She was. When I saw that, I was thinking one of us is going to have to go in and grab her. So she wasn't going to let go of that rod.
But her husband made that rod for her, so she wanted to hang on to that.
Totally understandable. But what's great is that in the end, she ended up landing that fish.
Absolutely, so. Absolutely. And the cool thing is, what could have been a disaster now becomes an awesome memory.
And a great story, too, to tell. So.
Thanks, Gary.
You're welcome.
Chad, what happened last night? Jesse almost went overboard. Where were you, and what did you see?
I just so happened to be standing right next to her, and all of a sudden I see a rod in between the legs. She's getting pushed over the side.
Pulled over, right?
Pulled over the side.
By a big bluefin.
By a big bluefin, probably 60 pounds or so. And my just natural reaction was to bear hug. I think we had an assist come in, grab her by the legs, and we all held on for dear life. She didn't lose the fish, and she wasn't going to let go of that rod. So I don't know how safe that was, but that's the route that she took. You know,
the rod was a gift from her husband. He wrapped it for her, so
her
she was
birthday gift. Huh?
Yeah,
Her birthday
100%.
gift. Yeah.
Now, how close did she come to going in the water? In other words, if you didn't grab her,
I would say her nose was about 2.5 feet from the water. She was about 80% over the side of the bow.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
So you don't grab her, she's in the water.
Totally. I barely grabbed on, and I don't remember who came in for the assist.
This guy, Mackie.
Somebody yanked on her legs, and group effort, we kept her in the boat.
Dude, way to go, man. That's an awesome story. And thank God she's still with us, right?
Absolutely. She's fishing today, right?
Chad, great job.
You got it.
Thank you.
Got it.
Hey, Mackie, you know who I see sitting behind you? Jesse. And one of the reasons she's sitting behind you, look at her back there, is because you were one of the rescuers. And I'm not kidding. She was going overboard. What happened last night?
All I saw was boots while I was filming. Boots in the air, and I was like, oh, is this real? So I went over there, dove so she wouldn't go in, and then brought us both down, and we both fell on our butts inside the boat. So it's good. She got the fish. We got some funny footage. We got a great story for this trip. Come on Friedman Adventures if you want to be saved. So
I love it. Hey, when you say boots in the air, where was the rest of her body? Was it on the other side of the boat, like on the water side?
If this is the rail, this is Jesse. This is Jesse, and that's all I saw was boots.
Wow. And you got an assist from Chad also, right?
Yeah. He held on to her like this, and then we just saw boots. And I was like, oh, shit.
And so I asked Chad this same question. Without you jumping in there, is she in the water?
I think so. She's still holding on to that fish, and she's going to Mexico.
Oh, my God. And to prove that she's still with us, Jesse, wave hello. Everybody wants to know you're still alive. All right, Mackie, good job. What the heck? You almost went overboard.
Yeah,
what happened
that was
out
fun,
there?
huh?
I came up, and Mackie was pulling you up off the deck, but everybody on the boat is telling me that you were heading overboard. What happened?
No, my body was definitely on the other side of the boat.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happened? The fish just took a run?
It yanked me real good, and then I just kind of went on over, but that was my birthday rod, so I wasn't going to let go of the rod, so I hugged the rod, and somebody grabbed, I think
it was Mackie.
Mackie, yeah, but Chad, the deckhand, he got me also.
What, like grabbed your legs?
Somebody got my legs, and they just brought me down, and then Chad took my pole and gave me a second to steady myself, and then I was right back on it.
So were you like going?
No, I was legit on the other side of the boat.
Would you have gone in the water if they didn't grab you?
100%.
Oh my God.
100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you know, the sad thing about it is Mackie wasn't rolling video then.
No.
Yeah, and if you would have gone in the
missed it.
water.
That would have been so exciting if I would have gone in the water.
And you got your fish, a big fish.
Of course, yeah.
How's
I brought
that
it in.
feel?
Yeah, it's good.
Man, I'm so happy for you.
First tuna
I'm
of the season. It's good.
I'm happy you're on board still,
Second
too.
tuna on the boat.
Yeah, I know. And you're not soaking wet.
Nope.
And you didn't have to take a swim in the deep blue.
No.
Good job. Good job. You want to say hi to Tori?
Hi, Victoria. Hi, Armin.
All right, you guys, you should be proud because she did a great job. Good job.
What you got? Probably an ace.
Oh!
Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. What's that? 9. No way, this is gonna be another 9. Oh!
Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. This absolutely lovely Friday morning. As you can see, my voice is absolutely shot, and I've been doing the sleep deprivation thing for 2.5 days on board. An absolutely great trip on board the Apollo. We're going to get into that in greater detail, and of course, I'm going to produce a great video for you here in the next 48 hours about our trip on the Apollo. And there were so many stories behind the great fishing that we experienced. Chris Ibarra with a 152-pound bluefin tuna on that trip. That was the biggest, but so many great stories and so much to talk about. We'll be talking bluefin tuna. We'll talk Ensenada. We'll talk some white sea bass up in the Channel Islands. We're going to talk about some local barracudas starting to show up. And the calico bass bite in San Diego and elsewhere has been really outstanding. You know what time it is. It's Friday morning, and it's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Ooh. More than ever, I need this. Man, I'll tell you, staying up all night long, I'm getting too old for that, but it was so exciting and so much fun. And I got to start out the show by thanking each and every one of you who are on board this great Apollo trip. What a great group of anglers. It was so much fun to spend time with you, and I can't wait to do it again really soon. Don't forget, we also have surf fishing days down here at the beach. We'll be putting one of those together here very, very soon, but we just meet at the beach and all surf fish together. It's an inexpensive way to get together, and I hope all of you will be able to make that also. And of course, on the lead in, you saw the dramatic story of our dear friend Jessie. She literally was a foot or two from the water. Her feet were over the rail. A giant bluefin tuna pulled her over the rail. And if it wasn't for the heroes that you saw already displayed in the video, man, it wouldn't have been a pretty thing. So way to go, Jessie, and way to go every single person. Doug Tilk, gotta mention Doug. He is such an integral part of the Friedman Adventures family. He is always there for us. He is so generous. Doug went out. He filled his ice chest with ice. He bought a shrimp cocktail for every single person who was on our Friedman Adventures trip so that when we arrived, we had this beautiful, delicious shrimp cocktail. He took care of the crew and some other people who showed up, like Michael, Limon, Doug. You are really, really special. Hey, if you don't mind, hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. Also, if you don't mind sharing these videos, that makes a big difference. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel. And of course, tick the bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. I'm still half asleep in case you haven't noticed. You can also watch us on Facebook, Instagram, on TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Wow, what a trip that was. It was absolutely amazing. And before I jump to Ensenada, I want to mention Bella Berrigan. Bella is the little girl who is our hat model, our clothing model. She's such an extraordinary kid, and her dad, Eddie, just wonderful person and a wonderful family. Bella's 11th birthday was yesterday. Bella, happy birthday to you. It is so much a privilege, an honor for me to say happy birthday to you because you're such a great kid and such a great angler. So happy birthday to you. Bella also got promoted from 5th grade to middle school. So we congratulate her on her academic success. And Dad got her a very special gift. He got her a brand new spanking doggy. Yes, a female Old English bulldog. And Bella wants she wants your help. She wants you to help her name her new bulldog. Down in comments, if you would help Bella name her new bulldog. It's a female. She loves to fish. She's a great kid. I mean, if you could put a name down below. Mackie said he'll go through all the names and then shoot them over to Bella and her father. And perhaps she'll choose one of those, or perhaps she'll come up with a better one herself. But Bella, thank you so much. You are number one. All right, south of the border, down in Ensenada, they continue 70 miles down there to pick away at the bluefin tuna. Most guys are getting a piece of that. Oh, I want to say 18 to 40-pound bluefin tuna with some bigger ones also mixed in there. They roll up on the pongas on these areas of breezing big bonita, and sometimes mixed with that bonita are these bluefin. Sometimes you roll up and it's straight bluefin tuna. Many times it's on the Mad Mac lures trolled behind the skiff or the ponga that you're on. That has been probably the best way to get a bite. But there's been a fair share of fish on the poppers and on the Colt snipers, Dawa type lures like 120 gram. That also has been working very, very well. So keep that all in mind. Really good fishing down there. That bluefin bite continuing, those big bonitas still around. And if anybody down there, and most people got bluefin, they're just focused on that. But if anybody wanted to fish that pristine coastline around Punta Banda and surrounding areas, they will come up with some excellent calico bass fishing. Louis Prieto had wide open barracuda fishing just the other day on the iron. So way to go, Louis. It's for real sport fishing. And Paulina and her mother Berenice, they've been out here recently with our dear friend Foca, who's a pongero down there, and they've had more bluefin tuna. There's also, however, some yellowtail running around inside Ensenada Bay and even outside. There's a few kelp patty fish, not a lot, but we're starting to see a few more. But definitely signs of spring in Ensenada with the bluefin and now the barracuda and now the calico. There's also really good sand bass fishing. I think I got to head on down there pretty soon and make it happen. It really does sound good down there in that neck of the woods. So we continue to see great progress down there. Danny Cadota on Saturday will be taking off on an 8-day trip down the Baja Coast, and they should have outstanding fishing. The Independents and a couple of other guys have been down there. Alijos Rocks, 50-plus pound yellowtail. Good yellowfin tuna fishing, 20 to 40-pound fish. And they've also managed to hit some rockfish zones at times and load up on the rockfish, as well as come up and hit the bluefin maybe on their final couple of days of the trip. So really outstanding fishing down below. And we'll follow Danny Cadota, who did his live show last night. It was kind of crazy, but it was a lot of fun. We'll follow Danny on his great trip as we go along. Don't forget about the El Patron. El Patron runs out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, and they've got some great trips for you this weekend. Headed to Catalina Island and headed to Santa Barbara Island at times, like on June the 24th, when Friedman Adventures will be on board the El Patron, leaving at a special 5 a.m. departure time, returning at 7:30 in the evening, June the 24th. If you want to join us on that trip or get on any other El Patron trip, go to www.longbeachsportfishing.org and get on the El Patron. Let's jump across the border and talk bluefin tuna. I'm just returning from the bluefin tuna grounds. Before I get into our trip, because it's kind of old news now, it's 24 hours old, the Highliner last night, easy early limits on the bluefin tuna. I talked to Max. He said, Phil, we have gorgeous weather here on board the Highliner out of San Diego, California, USA. And we had easy early limits. The Tribute with a big night last night. Several boats up there around limits of bluefin tuna. It's a mix in terms of the size. There's 20 to 40-pound fish, and then there's fish that will exceed 150 pounds in some cases. Really great fishing last night. The daytime bite has been very slow, not much at all. You get an occasional fish, but that's about it. When I say occasional fish, I'm talking about for the fleet, not for your particular boat. For most guys, it's off to do something else, whether you run to Clemente and fish there a little bit. We'll talk about the islands in a second, or you go maybe to the 60-mile bank as we did on our Apollo trip and fish the rockfish. So keep that in mind. On our trip, man, I'll tell you, I got to see it firsthand. It pays to stay up. It pays to stay attentive. When the captain tells you to drop, you must do so immediately. You must drop to the exact depth that he tells you to. The guys that were really successful on our trip, they had a couple things in common. Number one, they're really great anglers. And no need to point those guys out because I'm doing a whole video and we'll do so. Really great anglers, but they work so hard at it. They drop to the exact depth that Captain Ryan Block on the Apollo told them to drop to. And also, those three guys who had, I want to say 16 or 17 of our 37 fish, okay, they were all fishing with the West Coast Jiggers HD 350 gram lure. Not a sponsor of ours. We don't do that here. We tell you exactly what you need to. And I'm just telling you what the boys told me. And in fact, Chris Ibarra came up to me and said, this was brand new. And he's holding this jig that had the paint just chewed off it. You could see the abuse that this jig had taken on our fishing trip on board the Apollo. Those jigs really performed well. Smaller profile, 350 gram, 250 gram at times is also effective, but that 350 smaller profile, HD West Coast Jiggers, that is your jig. If you want to look at that and then say, oh, this looks pretty similar, you probably get away with that. But man, that was the hot jig. And fishing heavy tackle, super important. 100-pound Spectra will do you just fine with a 200-pound bite leader, not too long. You want to be able to hook your jig without any slack in your line to your reel, because some guys have it so long they'll wind up to the swivel and the fish is too deep to gal. So don't have too long of a leader, just so your jig will hook into your reel. You wind, take a wind, and it's secure right there. That's a good way to gauge what you're doing. Another thing that you got to pay attention to, and in the heat of the battle, it really is difficult to do sometimes, but pay attention to where you are dropping, because you might have a guy on a fish and you're dropping right on his fish. You see a guy in the corner, he's bit on a fish, go to the bow and start over, or go to the other side. Get away from those hooked fish. And tangles and problems are inevitable fishing at night, but that is just one way to really keep you out of trouble. We had a great trip on this trip. The crew on the Apollo couldn't get any better. They worked their tails off. From Captain Ryan Block, who I don't think sleeps. You know, he's Superman. That guy was all over the place working his tail off. To Gary in the galley, another guy that doesn't sleep. And of course, Blair, really great kid. Blair, so much fun spending time with you. And Shad, it was great seeing you too, my friend. Thank you guys all for your hard work and making really dreams come true on this trip with so many big fish. My good friend John Garma had such a great trip. Bob Giver did fantastic. And of course, Jesse almost went in the water. And I hesitate to mention anybody else because every single one of you were special to me. You know that. It was great fishing with you all. Really great fishing last night. We had great fishing. It seems good. We're going to get some weather up out there on Saturday night that's going to last through Monday, so we'll see if that has an adverse effect on the bite. But I'm guessing it's going to be another huge night tonight out there, and I'm wishing you all the very best of luck if you do indeed get out there. Unfiled taxes, visit our friend Tim Marquez. Tim's the very best. He will take care of your tax problems and get you up to speed. He's been doing it for 35 years. Give Tim a call today. And also, if you have heating and or air conditioning needs, you want to talk to our friend John Lopez at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. John is a super great guy. You will love him, and you'll love the work he will provide you with. Give Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning a call today. So some great stuff and great memories from this trip, and I'll be working on an extraordinary video for you all. Extraordinary because you'll get to see firsthand the size of the fish, how we caught them. You'll hear from Captain Ryan Block. It's a good one. And if I can get a little sleep, I'm hoping to have that for you Sunday evening, Monday evening at the latest. You know, give me a kick in the butt and tell me to get this done. All right, let's talk a little bit about the islands right now because we will cover that. Coronado Islands, a few yellows, more barracuda pushing in there, good rockfish. San Clemente Island, pretty darn tough. Few yellows over there, little bit of calico bass, occasional halibut, You're going to fall back on the rockfish if it stays the same. Right now, it's been tough there. Catalina Island, same kind of a situation where you're falling back mostly on the rockfish, but we are seeing some more yellowtail there also. Kind of like Clemente, you had the Sport King with 4 yellows, the Gale Force with 5 yellowtail. The Pursuit had 5 halibut. The Native Sun had 10 halibut. The El Patron with a couple of barracuda and a 15-pound halibut. So Cat is trying to come to life. We'll see what happens over there. Occasional sea bass, halibut falling back on the rockfish for the most part. Santa Barbara Island, a few yellows and sea bass. And the Channel Islands up there, we've had some flashes of good white sea bass fishing, but just flashes. Coral Sea had limits of white sea bass here recently up there out of Santa Barbara. And the Mirage yesterday, I believe he had 1 white sea bass. I'm looking frantically at my notes. 4 halibut and 1 white sea bass on the Mirage. We've seen Tucker McCombs on the Endeavor come up with some decent scores. So that place, I've been saying it for way too long. I know it's ready to explode. We just need a little bit more squid to move in there, and I think we're going to be in really good shape. So we are continuing to watch that for you very, very closely. Don't forget about our friends from Trocar Hooks. If you need a big, sturdy, heavy, sharp hook, go to Trocar from Eagle Claw. And I'll tell you what, man, you will not have to worry about a thing when you put your hands in Trocar Hooks, guaranteed. So there's your island situation. All right, let's talk the coastal regions right now. And I got to love what's going on in San Diego because they've had some really great fishing down there. The Daily Double half-day boat down there out of Point Loma sport fishing. Great bass fishing yesterday. 20 guys had 73 calico bass and a 17-pound white sea bass. It doesn't get any better than the calico bass fishing that we have been seeing on the Daily Double. In fact, Fred Huber, who runs the boat from time to time, said, Phil, I watched a guy catch double limits of calico bass. Of course, he was releasing on a surface iron a couple days ago. It is that good right now. The bass fishing with an occasional sea bass, as you could see right there. Also, the new Seaforth twilight fishing, limits of calico bass. They had a yellowtail. So not only really great calico bass fishing, but the exotics are in there also. We're seeing some bass around Dana Wharf sport fishing, also Oceanside, and then up into the surrounding areas here. As we move you up to Marina del Rey, Redondo, Long Beach, picking at the bass. Our water is starting to clean up here finally, but it's still a little bit off color. We need it to clean up. It's warming up for sure, so we're headed in the right direction. Up there, Daniel Hadaway on board the Island Spirit has had some hits on the calico bass here recently, so that's great stuff. And he's also had some nice big flatties up there out of Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing. Don't forget about Ventura Harbor Sport Fishing. The Island Spirit will be going on Sunday. It's their Kids Fish Free Day. Should be another great trip. Paid adult and kids 12 and under fish for free on the Island Spirit out of beautiful Ventura Sport Fishing. 805-676-3474. So a little bit more activity. Starting to see some barracuda. Spring is ready to go here. It's a gorgeous, beautiful summer-like day here on Friday, and hopefully we're going to see more and more barracuda and bass taken here today. I love that San Diego bite. That really has been quite extraordinary. Elsewhere, up and down the coast, when you're on 3/4 and half-day boats, you're focused mostly on the sheep's head and the whitefish and the sculpin and the rockfish like the Monte Carlo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. They give it an honest effort. They get out and give it a hard try. But for the most part, it's been the sculpin and rockfish. Hey, I forgot about the full-day boats out of San Diego because they are starting to see that bluefin tuna. Well, they've been seeing it for well over a month now. It's starting to bite. You get little spurts of energy on the bluefin tuna bite. A lot of that big bonita for the full-day boats. Guys that leave in the morning, come back that very same evening out of San Diego. And our very own Brian Burrell. Brian is a deckhand on the aforementioned Monte Carlo half-day boat out of 22nd Street Landing. Brian is not only one of the nicest guys, not only a dear friend of yours truly, but man, he is one heck of a fisherman. He is on it. They had 6 bluefin tuna on board the San Diego yesterday, and it doesn't surprise me at all that Brian had 2 of those babies. So way to go, Brian. Nice hit on the bluefin tuna. So happy for you, so proud of you. Man, you always seem to pull a rabbit out of the hat. All right, let's talk the Southern California surf tailor-made for some Corvina here this morning. This looks so darn beautiful to be hitting the surf down in San Diego area. More stripers down there. Glen Saldivar has been doing pretty good. There's still a little bit of bar perch up and down our coast. Don't forget Big Fish Bait and Tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California, right there in the corner of Seal Beach and Pacific Coast Highway. They've got all your bait and tackle, and I'm talking tackle from trout fishing to surf fishing to calico bass fishing to big bluefin tuna. They have it all down there, and they have a monthly tournament that you can get in with the purchase of their ruler. They just have to have a uniform ruler out there with everybody. You buy the ruler, you're in the tournament, and every single month they have a species of fish. You're fishing for the biggest one that month. If you get it, you get a brand new, custom, beautiful surf fishing rod, and it is flat, gorgeous, beautiful. Big Fish Bait and Tackle. Go buy your ruler, get all the rules down there. It's free after you buy the ruler, and you're in every single month for the rest of the year. Hard to beat. Also, in the surf, there's been some occasional halibut biting, so that is good news. Also, as we continue to see that as we move toward Father's Day weekend, and that is always a very special time, celebrating with your beloved kids, man. It doesn't get any better than that. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I made it through this, man. I'm ready to, I don't know if I'm going to fall over because I've got a sore throat and I'm so tired, or I'm going to fall over with joy because it is such a beautiful day and it's so great to be with you all. I'll keep you in touch with the very latest. We'll have some more shorts coming out later today on our great trip on board the Apollo. My thanks to each and every one of you who came out. Don't forget, Bella needs a name for her dog. We would appreciate that very, very much. And, of course, I'll be keeping you in touch with all the very, very latest. To all the wonderful people who made that trip so special by being there for me, I thank you so very much. Doug, you have my deepest thanks. Bella, happy birthday. And I wish you all my very best. Steve Hooten, who was on the trip with us fishing with his oxygen tank. That guy is a profile of courage for us all. Steve, you are the man. I love you so much. And again, I'm going to go through a lot of you guys in our video when I have more time to focus right in on that trip. And one more thing, Jesse, I'm glad you're still with us. Have a great one, my friends, and I hope to see you really, really soon.